Everything's gonna be fine. Don't worry about it. Yo people, what's happening? Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. I hope you're doing well. Really do hope that. Welcome back to Chelsea news. A video about Chelsea's finances. But it's exciting and fun, so stay right there. Everyone across the media is going, oh, Chelsea are in such financial fair play trouble. But the club always insist their fate is in their hands. And in this video today, I'm going to tell you how Chelsea can generate a whopping £184 million, which includes about £117 million pure profit, while also discounting certain players that I realise we won't be able to sell. Stick with me. Chelsea can generate a lot of funds and still buy that superstar striker they've been after. So thanks for joining me today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for supporting the content. If you want to, simply like and subscribe. I just want to take a really fleeting moment to let you guys know about a project I've been working on. I've converted the third channel of mine into something called Storyzilla, which is a non-football related YouTube channel where I tell interesting stories from across history and indeed present day pop culture. If you like the way I deliver information and tell stories, then you might dig this. I'll always do football therapy and talk about Chelsea, but if you fancy something a little bit different, please do go check out Storyzilla. Click the link in the top of the description. Go subscribe to that channel and support my new content venture. Alright, let's get into it. So there was big concerns around Chelsea recently that Lewis Hall wasn't going to be sold to Newcastle. Because they are not playing him, people were speculating that maybe they won't trigger the clause to have to buy him as in an obligation. Maybe he's just going to end up coming back to Chelsea in the summer. Of course, £30 million sterling thereabouts is a lot of cash for Lewis Hall. And of course, that word's going to come up again, pure profit on the books, because he's an academy player, which is an excellent thing for Chelsea's financial accounts. But Eddie Howe has actually confirmed, no, he's staying. Apparently he's close to having his clause triggered where they have to buy him, they're obligated, and he's in Eddie Howe's long-term plans. He has said this. In terms of my thinking, I'm preparing for Lewis to be at Newcastle for many years. He was always brought in with a long-term view, not a short-term signing. He is a long-term signing. We have always believed in him and his quality, and we have been working really hard with him and on his game. He's a really talented lad. He's got a couple of things that we need to continue working on, as all players have. I believe in him. My vision for him is to be at Newcastle for many, many years. Yeah, this was making a few people wonder what's going on there, because Lewis Hall is of course a baller. He's a midfielder by trade, historically in the Chelsea Academy. He's performed very, very well at the top level in men's football as a sort of wide player, wide midfielder, a wing back or a left back. And I think Newcastle bought him with that in mind. I'm assuming so. But we Chelsea fans know Lewis Hall is a great player. Many of us were upset to see him go, but at the same time, many of us understood that it's a good opportunity to earn a lot of cash for this young player. Not necessarily a personal favourite of mine, but I understood he's an excellent talent, performed really well against Manchester City. Sad to see him go, but not devastated, and I understand the finances behind the pure profit academy boys. It can appear to be too good to not do, especially when Chelsea are trying to do a whole rebuild with certain profiles of players, not just, the odd player that performed well here and there. Again, we don't see it on the pitch, but maybe there is a plan behind the scenes by these sporting directors, with long-term success being the aim and certain players of certain profiles coming together. Yet to see it on the pitch, like I've said, but maybe there's an idea there. So they're going to end up spending about 30 million quid on Lewis Hall, and we're going to total up some numbers in just a moment. Of course, there's certain players like Romelu Lukaku and Hakim Ziyech who are high-profile, high-earning players away on loan at the moment. Of course, Lukaku's in Italy and Ziyech is in Turkey playing for Galatasaray. They are maybe due to come back to Chelsea, and they are hard players to sell, certainly more with Hakim Ziyech, because they're on such high wages. Lukaku is still Belgium's starting striker, top goal scorer, and he's doing very well for Roma, so I believe there'll be more of a market for him, though his stock has dropped dramatically in his tenure as a Chelsea player. He still has sellability and a buyout clause. But what of Hakim Ziyech? Well, actually, come the summer, he will only have 12 months left on his Chelsea deal, and what I suggest, personally, is that Chelsea agree with Hakim to terminate his contract. He's one of these players that the new ownership inherited that perhaps they would not have purchased as soon as they got the sporting directors in. But again, nothing personal against Ziyech. I've always loved him. He was one of the signings I was most excited about in Chelsea's recent transfer windows. I thought he had this audacity about him. I thought he was just going to be like this hybrid of Iron Robin and Cesc Fabregas, and I liked his arrogance and it felt a bit Chelsea. I know he wasn't like big and hard like a brute, but he had a swagger about him that I loved. Didn't work out. Look, we could be like nostalgic about our old feelings, but it didn't work out. He's got to be 30 now. And he's got to move on. He's on high wages, doesn't suit the Chelsea model, and for takers to take him off our hands, they will probably need him as a free transfer so they can pay him those wages. Especially with 12 months left on this deal, I doubt Chelsea will get much compensation, so I say Hakim Ziyech away on a free. Similarly, I think Chelsea should terminate Malang Sarr's contract. Whether he would agree to that or not, I don't know. But Malang Sarr is on £100,000 per week. More than £62 million signing Mykhailo Mudryk. Yeah. Wild, innit? So Malang Sarr we signed, I believe, from Nice in Ligue 1. There was a few clubs looking at him. He refused to extend his contract with his club, so therefore there was a bunch of takers. A good talent on a free transfer, but he chose Chelsea. Prestigious Chelsea. Why? Because we offered him £100,000 a week. Again, no disrespect to Malang Sarr, good centre-back. We played him at left-back quite a lot as well, I believe. Did we? Was it left-back or right-back? Either way. Yeah. Malang Sarr, he's still got some pedigree. Scouts will know about him. I believe we should agree with him, if possible, to terminate his contract so he could go somewhere in Europe, get a signing on fee. He'll almost certainly have to take less wages than 100k a week, but a signing on fee may represent a compromise that he's willing to take, and of course, actually playing football again at a relatively high level and seeing where he can go in his career as a young player still-ish. So they're the two high-profile players in Ziyech and Malang Sarr that I would just get rid of their contracts. So Chelsea still need to make sales, and a lot of them. It has been rumoured that Chelsea have a soft deadline before the transfer window ends to make £100 million in revenue. And if true, though Chelsea deny it, that would prove to be a difficult negotiating position because the buying clubs would be like, well, we know you're on a timer here, tick-tock, tick-tock, you know, trying to get a better deal out of us. Whether this soft deadline is true or not, I'm not so sure in terms of Chelsea needing to generate a certain amount. But like I said, in the numbers that I've added up, Chelsea can make a lot of money. So first of all, of course, Lewis Hall is going to Newcastle for about 30 million quid all in when all is said and done. That is £30 million banked on pure profit. Next up, of course, is Ian Maatsen, who's enjoying an excellent 6-month loan stint at Borussia Dortmund. The BVB club absolutely adore him, the club, the coaches, the fan base. The social media admins, he's getting a few assists, he's playing really, really well. I think he got Rookie of the Month away in the Bundesliga. He's doing really well out there. He's got a £35 million sterling buyout clause and a £2 million loan fee. I personally think Dortmund will activate that, and that is £37 million banked for Chelsea in pure profit for 2 academy graduates. Now, lots of people will be upset about Ian Maatsen going, thinking, oh, we could do with that. Look at our left-back situation at the moment with Ben Chilwell. Yeah, maybe true, I don't know. Maybe we'll look to the academy. Maybe we'll do another Malo Gusto, look to Ligue 1. We have been scouting Ligue 1 for left-backs. Spend 20 million on a French left back and amortise their contract for 5 years, which on the books is excellent work, and then you bank £37 million, bang, straight in the first year for Ian Maatsen, getting you out of financial trouble. So that's 2 down, let's keep her going. Let's stay on the pure profit train and talk about Armando Broja. Now, Armando Broja is a super tough one. Of course, he's not really doing much for Fulham at the moment. He is such a highly rated player, Armando Broja, and it was only recently that Chelsea were quoting clubs £50 million for Armando, and even his biggest believers was like, what? 50 million quid. Of course, come off a long injury, but there is a great player in there. And though I don't think we can get anywhere near 50 million quid for Broja, especially after a peculiar loan at Fulham, I do think there will be takers for him that recognise his ability and profile. And I'm going to say a sort of semi-ambitious, but still quite conservative total of £25 million for Armando Broja. £25 million, again, here's that dirty word, pure profit on the books, immediately slam dunked into the accounts. And the final pure profit player that I'm going to discuss is, of course, Trevoh Chalobah. Now, this feels really, really harsh on Trev. He's doing a good job at the moment, playing well, playing at, right back, centre back. And there is a chance he'll stay, but the fact remains Chelsea have always identified Trevoh Chalobah as a player with a market that, other clubs will come and buy him. He nearly went to Bayern Munich. Of course, Thomas Tuchel really likes him, but Thomas Tuchel is leaving Bayern Munich at the end of the season. I still think with all of Trevoh Chalobah's experience and a body of work that you can present to a buying club, like look at him play in the Premier League, Champions League, the Cup. This kid's good. You can play in this position. He's played in Ligue 1, played in central defensive midfield, so there's a lot of data to present buying clubs. And because Pochettino and maybe the sporting directors like, Alfie Gilchrist coming through, a young player, really exciting, we do have a couple of good defenders. I personally think Trevoh Chalobah for 25 million will be too good to turn down, especially when Badiashile comes back from injury. Wesley Fofana hopefully comes back from injury. And like I said, Alfie Gilchrist and crew, I just still see them trying to sell Trevoh Chalobah. And again, you're not going to get 50 million for him, but I think you should get 25 million pounds for him for a good, young, tall and versatile defender. Right, so that's the pure profit boys out the way. Now, there are loads of other players that I could mention here, like David Datro Fofana, who's scoring goals for Burnley now. Players like him and Diego Moreira I could add to the selling list, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to assume these kind of young players that we recently purchased perhaps go on loan again to better designed loans, okay? But there are two more players that I want to add to the list, and they are not academy graduates. And no, ladies and gentlemen, it's not Raheem Sterling. I don't think we can sell Raheem Sterling. He's on too much money unless he agrees to go to Saudi Arabia. But one is the aforementioned Romelu Lukaku. Now, Lukaku, of course, is in his 30s now. He's 30 years old. He's scoring goals for Roma, and he's still got that high profile. He is absolutely sickened by the idea of coming back to Chelsea, so don't think for a moment there's a third chance there at Chelsea. He wants to go, and Chelsea will want him to go. Chelsea, of course, have put in a buyout clause into his contract. They renegotiated a deal with him about a year ago where he's lowered his wages so he could go to Roma. And Chelsea put in a 40 million euro buyout clause, which is about 37 million pounds. Now, even if Roma don't activate this, or maybe they could, maybe they win a European trophy, qualify for another European competition, and then they think, you know what, Lukaku's loved here, he's done really well, he's kept in shape. Let's do it. Let's spend £37 million and buy Romelu Lukaku. He wants to stay there. It could happen. But regardless, because he's so frightened of coming back to Chelsea, I think possibly he'd rather take that Saudi Arabia bag than come back to Chelsea at this point. So I think Chelsea will get their £37 million for Romelu Lukaku. And finally, this might be a little bit of a controversial one, but Marc Cucurella. Now, we've spent nearly 60 million quid on this guy, or roundabouts that. I certainly don't think we'll get that. I do think he doesn't really suit us. The idea was the Graham Potter system, Tuchel Graham Potter system, like, left centre back, left wing back. But for me, he's not the kind of dynamic fullback that Pochettino would want, or indeed I would want for the next Chelsea manager should another one come in. I just don't think he's appropriate. Also, he represents that previous idea of before Project 2030 low wages. He's on high wages. I think he's a great guy. He's only like 26, so he's not like old or anything. I do think he's a great footballer as well. He's technically good. Of course, he's come from Barcelona. But if we can sell him and bring in a little bit of cash, personally, I think that would be good to get his big wages off the books as well. And then you bring in maybe, if you can, another dynamic, proper left back, like a Malo Gusto for the left-hand side, personally. So you've got your Chilwell and James, if either of them are ever fit and ready to play. And then you've got really good deputies in Malo Gusto and, another Ligue 1 left back, a young dynamic guy, both on low wages, not on these massive Cucurella wages. So, obviously, Cucurella's value's dropped dramatically, but I'm going to say he's still worth £30 million to a non-Premier League club. I think he'd be bought outside the Premier League, maybe by, I don't know, he's got Atletico Madrid written all over him, isn't he? That kind of player. A big Spanish club, of course, he's a native Spanish speaker. I think that would suit him. Obviously, the Premier League money isn't in these European leagues, but I think 30 million quid for a player of his profile now, and people will scout him like, yeah, he can be really, really good. So yeah, I'm going to say £30 million for Marc Cucurella. And you might disagree with me and feel like don't sell him, but that's what I'm saying. So that's my selling spree, and in total, this would generate £184 million sterling, as well as £117 million pure profit on the books. And that is with like a bunch of players that you could sell not being sold. Even the £117 million pure profit on the books, that immediately takes Chelsea out of any danger, and you could be like that additional £17 million. You could put that against the first year of a 5-year amortised contract of a new signing, whether it's an Osimhen or someone else. It's there, it's doable. I wanted to make a video, speak about how to generate revenue of selling certain players. Let me know what you think. Comment down below. Do you find it interesting? I certainly do, because I'm a bit of a nerd like that. So yeah, leave your comments. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And if you do want to support my new content, do go check out Storyzilla by clicking the link in the top of the description. Alright friends, thanks very much. I hope to see you back here very soon. Peace.